Hi guys, welcome back to Spice Channel TV. Thank you for always coming out here. If you're joining us for the first time, please kindly subscribe and don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Thank you. Now, my country people, we can recall how a lot of criticisms followed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's huge entourage. Yes, for the COP28 summit, for the COP28 climate change summit that was held in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, where it was said that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu turned the global change summit into an O1 bear, into a jamboree with his large entourage. I mean, a lot of people really spoke about that. There were a lot of criticisms, Atiku, Obi, so many people really aired their views on that aspect, that irrespective of the fact that Nigeria is being failed, is facing a lot of challenges, people are suffering, and instead of the government of this administration to cut their coats according to the material available, they are busy spending on unnecessary things. I mean, it doesn't make sense to a country that keeps on borrowing money, and at the end of the day you waste money just like that. So it was really serious that people had to react. I mean, it really created a lot of controversies and a lot of criticisms on the office of the president. Meanwhile, recently, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had slashed his travel expenditure and all government officials in his administration by 60%. Yes, I must say this is a very welcoming development whereby the President Tinubu slashes all travel expenses of all government officials by 60%. Also, reduces security delegation. This was made known by the presidential spokesman Ajuri Njila. He made this known to the State House correspondents on Tuesday at the presidential villa in Abuja, where Njila asserted that the decision, which will affect the office of the president, the office of the vice president, the first lady, ministers, even head of agencies, was part of the cost-cutting measures of the presidency. He said the splash means that the president is limited to only 20 number of staffs outside the country. Yes, Tinubu has been directed that all state entourage would be drastically reduced. I mean, this is not a mere request, it is a directive, and the office of the president, the staff will be affected, the VP, the appointees, they would all be affected, and there would be a splashing of expenditure on official travel by 60%. Well, he made this known that every minister is limited to having just 4 members of staff on any foreign trip, while heads of agencies are limited to just 2. He also said Tinubu has also said that he will no longer travel with huge security delegations to any state in the country. The presidential spokesman also added that if the president travels to any state, then the security in the state would take care of his security, and the same applies to the vice president and other top government officials, which is really commendable, guys. This is very commendable. I mean, kudos to the president. This is good news. This is the kind of news we want to hear. You know, when the president listens to the people are going to be happy that yes, the president has given the listening ears to the people. At least there'll be more relief. This is the kind of news we want to hear. But I am really impressed with this tendency of the government. I am really impressed that Tinubu listened to the cries of Nigerians and what they had to say. At this point, Nigeria must survive. We really need to reduce a lot of things. I mean, it is really wasteful to go on out of the country with huge entourage when we know the cost of foreign flights is quite expensive, not to talk of local flights and all of that. International flights are expensive, and here we have the president that took over a 1,400 entourage, which was quite wasteful in the eyes of many. We really hope that this would continue. It is really commendable. Now, note that the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, on foreign travels would go with 20 entourage. The first lady would go with about 10 or so. uh, the office of the vice president would go with 15, and it goes on and on. The ministers 4, and that is how it would be. So guys, Tinubu has said to cut cost of governance. He has made a declaration reducing official delegation by 60%. That is a very great improvement. It is very great and really commendable. Like, I am so glad the president has decided to take a step. And with the recent happenings in this country, we see how the EFCC and the ICPC are grilling some certain persons that are found wanting for corruption, alleged fraud, like Mrs. Madam Betta Edu, the other minister that was being accused for fraud and all of that. You see the way the EFCC are grilling them, all on the commands and the directives of the president. Even when people were calling for the suspension of Madam Betta Edu over her recent scandal, an embezzlement of about 580, half a billion naira. People call that she should be suspended pending, the time that they would run investigation into that, into her office. And yes, the president immediately suspended her, giving room for the EFCC to come and pick her up for questioning and grilling. So guys, this is really, wonderful. And this one, it doesn't apply for foreign trips. It also applies for domestic trips within Nigeria, where the president delegation for local trips is being cut at 25. Yes, for foreign trips, the president would have to go with 20 entourage. For local trips, the president's delegation would be 25. The first lady at the local trips, that's for domestic trips within Nigeria, is at 10. The vice president at 15, his wife at 10, and other members. So every minister is limited to having just 4 members of staff on foreign trips, while CEOs of government agencies are limited to just 2. So the aim is to cut down wasteful spending and to reflect the prudence expected of all Nigerians. And this restriction applies to all government MDAs, including the president, the vice president's office. And guys, this is really a great news. So my country people, what are your thoughts on this? I'm dropping here, guys. Kindly share your thoughts concerning this in the comment section.